Good afternoon. Greetings to all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Scaling Healthtech Companies in Hong Kong and Beyond. This event was supported and organized by Association of Healthtech Indonesia. We also would give an appreciation to Hong Kong Science and Technology Parks Corporation and StartmeupHK Hong Kong for the initiative to co-organize this event as a series of half-day hybrid salon events in 6 overseas key markets. And good afternoon to our guest speaker today, Assistant Director, Medical Devices, Institute for Translational Research, Hong Kong Science and Technology Parks Corporation, Ms. Carol Liu. Please join us. And we would also like to thank all of participants today. First of all, let us be thankful for happiness and health to all of us so we can attend this event. I am Nadine as your host today. And without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Lau Kin Wai, Director General of Hong Kong Economic Trade Office. Please join us.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Very happy to be here with you all. Thanks to Invest Hong Kong, Hong Kong Science and Technology Park Corporation, Healthtech ID for co-organizing and supporting this event. The topic of today is Healthtech, which is very promising and very relevant in the context of the present days. Both Indonesia and Hong Kong are indeed in an enviable position. Hong Kong is an international financial center and a hub of logistics with world-class professional services. In our city, there is a vibrant startup ecosystem with more than 3,700 startups. Also, we are one of the top funding distribution nodes in the Asia-Pacific region and home to some 230 health tech companies. Indonesia and the ASEAN, to a large extent, is a huge market with enormous potentials. There are already close ties among us, from trade and investment to cultural and people-to-people exchanges. Hong Kong is a major source of foreign direct investment for this region. We're the third largest for the ASEAN and the second largest for Indonesia. And on the other hand, the ASEAN is the second largest trading partner of Hong Kong for over a decade. All of us, Hong Kong, Indonesia, and the ASEAN, are defined by our interconnectedness. Such interconnectedness is particularly important in the face of the pandemic. We have looked to one another for experiences and support in the quest of tackling the challenges of the pandemic. Right now, we are also looking to one another for collaboration and cooperation for the purpose of economic recovery and further economic development. There have been seismic shifts in the economic environment over the past 2 years. Businesses, entrepreneurs, and investors have been prompted to look beyond the conventional developed markets and to take a more broader regional perspective when it comes to value chain. We are also witnessing transformation of economic foci and growth engines. Healthcare, particularly health tech, is definitely on the list of promising industries. To better grasp the opportunities, we need a conducive environment and also capabilities in such areas as versatility, creativity, and resilience. These are the fundamentals underpinning Hong Kong's success. Many of them are also the highlights of the appeal of Indonesia and the ASEAN. It's the common endeavor of the governments in Hong Kong, in Indonesia, and also in the ASEAN to put in place frameworks and policies with a view to best enabling entrepreneurs and business communities to realize their capabilities to the fullest extent. One vivid example of that is the Hong Kong ASEAN Free Trade Agreement, covering all ASEAN members, including Indonesia. With the agreement, there is greater ease and more certainty in trade, investment, and economic ties between Hong Kong and Indonesia, and also between Hong Kong and the ASEAN. Looking ahead, We're very excited about new opportunities brought about by various key strategic development initiatives in the region, including the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, and the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area Development. This part of the world is one of the few localities with most growth potentials and momentum. Hong Kong and Indonesia are right at the best spot. Hong Kong is an essential component of the Greater Bay Area and plays an indispensable role in the ASEAN and the RCEP coverage areas. For sunrise industry like Healthtech, opportunities and potentials in the region and on the horizon definitely abound. So once again, I'm very happy to be with you all here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lau Kin Wai. Now I would like to invite Dr. Gregorius Bimantoro, Chairman of Association of Healthtech Indonesia. He is also the founder and CEO of Atoma Medical and Prosehat. Please join us.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the event, both online and offline. Thank you, Mr. Kunwei from Invest Hong Kong. So this is a very interesting event that Indonesia and Hong Kong works together on the health tech sector, and this is actually parts of the initiative from Invest Hong Kong, right? The Start Me Up Hong Kong that goes around the cities, yeah, like Brazil, Canada, and we are very delighted to have it here in Jakarta. Very unfortunate that the COVID-19 numbers also up very high here, just in a very last few days. So actually we expect more people to joining like in a hybrid event in face-to-face, but it's okay. There's always a good time to meet first, even the e-meet. And I think what Healthtech Indonesia offer is the network of more than 120 startups with the partnerships with the MOH and ICT Ministry, and how we also work with a lot of healthcare providers, like more than 1,000, and how our members is connecting to 3.5 million health record, an e-health record, and we are really waiting for the regulations for this and help more of the Indonesia healthcare transformations. So I think to go beyond Indonesia and even like this Hong Kong and beyond, right? It's not only speaking about Indonesia and Hong Kong, but also like the rest of the world. Even you can see like the rest, I don't say the rest of the planet because we're still in Earth only, right? But I think it's very interesting that we need to start from somewhere, and Jakarta is quite a good start to do this, right? I mean, with population of 10% of Indonesia in Jakarta greater area, a lot of our members start to hear. Although we understand that the second and third tier cities across Indonesia is the next digital wave, right? But there is still a time of adaptations for those transformations in digital transformations, especially speaking of the healthcare service. We hope that this conference, this talk with one of the founders of genomic startups and the blockchain clinic systems, there's already quite advanced according to Indonesian standard, right? I mean, those technologies are not even here like less than 5 years ago. Okay, so this is very new. This is something that we hope could help a lot of digital transformation happen in Indonesian healthcare, and we hope this is becoming more and more a partnership with Hong Kong and Indonesia. Thank you.
Dr. Bimo. Now we are proceeding to the presentation and the panel discussion. I would like to invite Ms. Carol Liu, Assistant Director of Institute for Translational Research. Ms. Liu, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Law from Hong Kong ETO head office. Thank you, Mr. Bimantoro, for the nice welcome remarks. And everyone from the on-site events and also friends from West Hong Kong and Hong Kong ETO office. Thank you for inviting us to join this meaningful event. So I will have like around 20 minutes to give a very brief and quick introduction about the biotech ecosystem in Hong Kong, especially in the umbrella of Hong Kong Science and Technology Parks. So, so can I get the support from the local control? Okay, so okay, you hear me clearly and you see the slides now? Okay, so yeah, this is the overall overview of our value proposition. Actually, Hong Kong as a international hub attract the I&D in biotech. So along the cycles, you can see we have talents between the biomedical life science and biomedical engineering related research. And I will give more. Thank you. And I will give more illustration in the following slides. The innovation here ranks in the world. Hong Kong ranks the top, I think, top 10 or 20 in the world for the innovation. So we are creating and building, enhancing can-do culture for innovation. Over the past 4 to 5 years, Hong Kong Science Park has been investing a lot of government funds to enhance the infrastructure for biotech industry and for the translation research. And also, we also have the soft power to support the market success and also market adoption. So that's also enhancing the overall commercialization journey of our startup companies. Also, in Hong Kong, it is well known about this IP protection and law system, as well as the continuous and dynamic policy support to the industry, healthcare related, biotech related. So we are getting a lot of attention from the world and from the local community on our innovation and startups. Last but not least, the capital market is quite attractive. So the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, we have the Chapter 18A for biotech company listing without need for revenue. It's a pre-revenue listing, attracting the private fund investment from the capital of the private sector. So this is very attractive for biotech companies. So that's the overview. Next slide, please. Thank you. Yeah, for Hong Kong's advantage for biomedical technology, we, as I just mentioned, we have the high quality and internationally recognized biomedical research and clinical trial centers, which I will give the slides in my next few minutes. We have also strong support from government and also the private sector. Next slide. So you can see we have around 5, 6. Recently, it's 5 universities in Hong Kong ranked in top 100 of the world on biomedical science and biomedical engineering. This is very critical because this is a source for the innovation and R&D. So we closely work with these kind of universities and researchers, PIs, and their teams, collaborators, giving the fresh blood to the ecosystem of biotech industry in Hong Kong. Next. Speaking of the clinical trial, which is quite important for our biomedical and biotech industry, Hong Kong enjoys a special advantage on clinical trial and clinical research. So it is recognized by both the US FDA, European EMA, and also the China NMPA, which are the regulatory authorities for pharma and also medical devices for registration. So, which means that clinical trial conducted in Hong Kong and the clinical data received from studies will be useful for registering the products in both US and European market, as well as in the China market. So there are four hospitals. One is Queen Mary, which is affiliated hospital of Hong Kong, University of Hong Kong. Another two, Prince of Wales and also Hong Kong Eye Hospital, affiliated hospitals with Chinese University of Hong Kong. And also we have Sanatoria Hospital, which is a very famous private hospital in Hong Kong. And they have over 15 specialists. So people working on oncology, etc., they can conduct their clinical trials in Hong Kong with the world famous PI in this domain, and then to see the regulatory, the market mission, etc. Next. Right. We have a very strong support from government in terms of funding. This data might be a little bit like 5 or 4 years ago. Since this time, the government has already invested like 150 billion Hong Kong dollar for R&D. Of course, not all of them are for the biomedical industry, but it's a health sector. It's a huge market and attracted a lot of attention. So you can imagine such kind of huge amount of government investment on the infrastructures and programs and also the human resources to support the innovation and technology development. Please. And here comes to the biotech ecosystem in Hong Kong and in our parks. Next. So at Science Park, we do a lot of work and also the joint team efforts on translational research. So this is a very famous picture about the Death Valley. It's very, very typical for biotech companies in their startup stages. So people will have fundraising problems. They were in doing the clinical validation before they can get the private investment. So how to support them better and to go through this journey. So that will be our whole purpose. And a lot of procedures and our programs would be designed to support the companies go through this value of test. Next, thanks. Yeah, so as most of you are in the domain, so you are both, I believe you all understand that through discovery to the post-market, so the risk is decreasing, the value is increasing. The value of death usually happens in the middle stage of this picture. So what we're trying to do is to help the company increase their valuation to de-risk for their R&D process. Next. So here is the vision of our team. We're called ITR, short for Institute for Translation Research. It's kind of like highlighting the translation for the whole ecosystem in Hong Kong. The missions of our ITR is to expedite the translation of biotech technologies to benefit the public, because the ultimate goal is to benefit the public. And also, we wish to enhance and instill researchers with the entrepreneurship mindset. Because if stay with the universities and research institutes, and it's quite difficult to translate and to convert their research output into the commercial products to benefit the public. So that's second important mission goal. And last but not least, we hope to establish Hong Kong as the esteemed hub for the translational research and development for the biotech industry. So that's our mission statement for department under the Hong Kong Science and Technology Park. Next. Speaking of the position, because Hong Kong Science Park, HKSTP, is actually a semi-government. So we're quite neutral. That's why we can maintain a very good relationship with all of the parties shown on this picture. Like the universities, you can see these 6 universities all have the biomedical science, biomedical engineering, traditional Chinese medicine related programs. So we closely work with them, and to help connecting our park companies and startups with the researchers in the universities, so to enhance the innovation. And also, this is similar for our research institute, covering the applied research, the textile, some of the projects specifically for biomedical applications, the nanotechnologies, logistics, and also the rest of the research institutes. And also we have Science Park has been establishing a strategic partnership with our corporate partners, so that it's sort of promoting the product and technology adoption and market access, so that we not only enhance their R&D but also enhance their product adoption journey to reach the local market, and through the local market to radiate to the worldwide market. And because of the relationship between us and the government, actually Science Park maintains a very good relationship with both the Innovation Technology Bureau and also the healthcare related bureaus. So the Department of Health is we meet up closely to discuss the policies and also the pain points from the industry, and seek the looking for an enhancement or improvement in terms of policies, because that will play a very important role, especially for the biotech industry development. Also, we have a lot of government funding and private funding. The government funding is, we call it Innovation Technology Fund. It's under the Innovation Technology Mission, which is our parent organization. And also we leverage the private equity and venture capitals to support our companies to do fundraising. So that basically covers the R&D, the fundraising, the policy, and also the market adoption aspect of the journey for the R&D. Next, please. Yeah. So with this good platform, we have already attracted quality companies join Science Park. So you can see currently we have over 170 companies in our sector. That is the biomedical related sector. So we have diagnostics, medical devices, pharmaceutics, including the advanced therapeutics, products, technologies, also some relevant like TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, as well as the nutrition and cosmetics, which is related, and also some enabling technologies for like diagnostics or medical devices. We have actually an incubation program, which I will show in the next slides, mapping the same technology domains of 3 major categories. So that's a quick look of our portfolio companies. You can see. Next one, please. Yes, so this is the Incubation Program I just mentioned. Incubation Program is a funding program on the Hong Kong Science and Technology Park, specifically designed for the biotech industry. So it's in short, it's a 4-year program with maximally 4 million Hong Kong dollar to support the R&D, and also another 2 million Hong Kong dollar support the regulatory related activities. Joining the Incubation Program not only enjoys the financial support, but also a lot of other supporting from program from the company, including we invest a lot of the equipment so that companies don't need to invest by their own about the expensive equipment. Just use communal facilities owned by Science Park at a very reasonable and cheap price. So that's a great beneficiary to the startup companies. Otherwise, it is difficult to kick off their R&D journey as a commercial role. And also, because of the most of the products or most of the projects under the Incubation Program are regulated products, so you will need to go through the regulatory process. So we provide a lot of advice and support in terms of regulatory affairs, like how to get the clear regulatory or best regulatory pathway, which markets should be prioritized in terms of their technology and users, and also the CROs and clinical like animal facilities, how to be connected with them, what are the best strategy to work with them, so that you have data that can be used to pitch the investor. So that are the supports we also provide. in addition to the funding. And also because we have a very vibrant ecosystem here regarding the biomedical technology. As you can see, we have large companies and also small and medium-sized companies, as well as the startup companies in our parks. So that creates a great synergy across sectors and also within the same sectors. So people working with the same directions or same categories can discuss and exchange their ideas, experience. And also they can explore collaborations with other sectors, like a lot of pharma companies might be interested in collaborating with companies working in diagnostics and medical devices to enhance the patient journey. So we have a very vibrant ecosystem to support this kind of R&D. And also the talents, like I just mentioned, we have government funding to support the talent recruitment for our startups. And we also have the students, researchers from the universities I just mentioned, ranked quite high over the biomedical science and engineering domain. We will support startup companies in our incubation program to do fundraising and to teach the investors. So they do a lot of exercise to get ready of them during this 4-year program, because a lot of them will continue their R&D and also the hopefully commercialization process after graduate from the incubation program. However, they will be practiced with capability to sustainable raise fund, continue carrying out their R&D. So that's what we try to deliver to the incubatees. And also we have professional coachings. We have partners, I'll just show you later, for coaching our incubatees, and also across Science Park. There are a lot of professional services to be giving you the advice on company structure or financing, accounting things. So startups being off from universities, they don't have kind of skills or knowledge. They don't need to be afraid, because we will provide a very strong support on this kind of thing. So we encourage and we wish to have the growth for our incubating companies. We would like to promote their commercialization of technologies, and also we will provide financial. We will train them with skills to enable the financial sustainability. That's the design of the Incubation program. Also, next slide. Then also, yes, sorry. So this is a slide what I'm talking about coaching and training, professional training. So in Science Park, our Incubation program has established partners who incubate the companies, and these partners have their unique strengths and networks. For example, KingMed is a China headquartered company focusing on diagnostics. So they provide a lot of diagnostic services to the clients with a very wide network through the mainland China. And they will provide the mentorship on diagnostics, and also provide the opportunities to extend the the startup companies' knowledges into their service platform, and then reach out to end users. So startup companies, they might not have the resources to reach so many clients, the users, but through our partnership, it is possible. So this is to typically de-risk approach, support our incubatees. And also, actually, in terms of like manufacturing and so market adoption strategies, regulatory advices, we will also provide the suggestions in terms of the diagnostic related domain. And for AstraZeneca, their focus, they choose the focus of oncology solutions. And similarly, they will have like coaching, mentorship for companies working on this field. And also, AstraZeneca would leverage their global network to screening the high potential projects to be commercialized, and also to grow in Hong Kong and potentially enter into the market of the mainland China or overseas. So there will be a different angle from AstraZeneca co-incubate our companies, and they also provide the potential route for manufacturing, because previously in Hong Kong, Hong Kong might not be the best choice for manufacturing. But although we are enhancing this part, when companies wish to extend their R&D stage into the later stages, as Cassandra would share their networks and resources into the mainland cities to support the companies. So that's on oncology solutions. And very recently, we have a partnership established with the Boehringer Ingelheim VC venture fund. So their focus will be on infectious disease and immunology. BI is more like research-driven our company. So they will be willing to share a lot of their experience and expertise in terms of the R&D and also manufacturing and also the regulatory strategies with our incubating companies. And also, as a venture capital organization, we were connecting our companies with potential investors and provide them feedback in terms of like investment pitching. So that will create a very strong mentorship program for our incubating companies to continue their technology transfer during the incubation 4-year program. Next. Okay, so in addition to the Incubao program, actually Science Park has another incubation program. It's just called incubation program generally. The difference of incubation program between incubation program and Incubao is that Incubao is more focused on like regulated products, and incubation will cover more on like healthcare related technologies or enabling technologies for healthcare applications, for medical applications. And it will be a 3-year program with a relatively lighter amount, like Hong Kong dollar 1.3 million. It's around, I think it's around 20 million US dollar as a financial support. And similarly to the Incubao program, it also provides business support, mentorship, and also the working networks, and also market adoption. So you can consider like Incubao as more focused on regulated products, and incubation will cover a more broader spectrum of healthcare related technologies. So good choices for companies with different background, products, and stages. Next. Okay, like I just mentioned, we use a lot for the communal facilities. So you can see the Biomedical Technology Support Center in Science Park. We're actually expanding them from the 2 buildings shown at the above area. We have a co-working laboratory for specifically for Incubao companies. And also we will have other facilities to support the incubatees at a very cheap price. Next. Thank you. Co-working spaces for the startups companies to continue their prototyping and development, so available at our Science Park. And also some software licenses to support the R&D, like simulation, data analysis, IP searching. Thank you. Next slide. Yeah, these are the infrastructures in Science Park. We have the biobank for biospecimens, the data platform, drug safety center for the animal facilities for preclinical study, medical device testing laboratories, and also the GMP site for cell processing. So these are very strong infrastructures invested to support the industry. Next. So there's some pictures about the biobank. Next. The animal facilities, they can do clinical validation for drug safety, also device safety. Next. The medical device testing lab support the mechanical material testing at the phase 1 stages and probably later stages for more topics. Next one will be the GMP facilities for cell processing, manufacturing. Next. Funding programs for conducting clinical trial in Hong Kong. Simply speaking, we will have maximally 8 million matching fund for both therapeutics and medical devices to conduct clinical trial in Hong Kong. Next. And also we have a portal for medical technology co-create program. So encourages different companies in Science Park to work together for new ideas and innovations. Next one. We also have the platform called Healthy Aging Platform to promote the technology adoption, specifically for the elderly care. Next one. And also, we will have education team to nurture the mindset of entrepreneurship for our companies. Next one. So through these kind of infrastructures and programs, we try to build up pillars to support the companies go through the test of value and to help them go through smoother process with ability trained to maintain the sustainability for their R&D and innovation. Next one. Science Park is in addition to incubation, we will also have acceleration program and elite program, which are both the funding programs for different stage of companies. So next one, acceleration. Okay. So this is the venture fund. Science Park is our VC arm for investment. So previously, $1 from Science Park investment were like leveraging another $13 from the external investor. So it's a very strong support for fundraising. Next one. In our venture capital fund network, next slide. Yes, in our VC CVF team, the venture fund of Science Park, we have over 1,000 investment partners to support these fundraising activities. So it's a very strong network. Fundraising, next one. And we also have the government fund to support the R&D talents recruitment for each company. They have quotas for 3 years. So it's a very attractive funding scheme for the biotech companies and also other technology domains. Next one. Also, the living, affordable living nearby the parks. We also have one building as shown in the picture. So people from overseas can apply for accommodation. Next one. Yeah, last but not least, Hong Kong is close to very close to the mainland of China. So in the GBA area, we are discussing a lot of new policies, explore benefiting the biotech industry. So more information will be available later. I think this is the last slide. Do we have the next one? Yes, we have a campus in Shenzhen actually to be extending our arms and services to companies having offices in GBA area. So it's actually mapping our supporting to the companies there, setting there. Basically, doing mapping the companies in the mainland China for the regulatory registration related matters affairs. Next one. Next one wraps up the presentation by Science Park for the ecosystem of biotech. So in short, it's a good environment for startups and to engage in the investors and incubators and talents, industry partners, and healthcare service users. So I hope that gives you a very brief introduction about the ecosystem in Hong Kong. And I believe you might have some questions later, and I can have the discussion with you later. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carol Liu. May I now invite Mr. Hilwan Yogi Brahmanda, Head of Investment Promotion, Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office, to be our moderator today for the panel discussion.
So good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Hilwan Brahmanda. So I'll be the moderators for the discussions. So first and foremost, so let me introduce the 4 panelists. So we have Mr. Satria Antayutia, the Chief Executive Officer of the Cityscopes. And we have three other panelists who's joining us virtually. We have Colin Ng, founders and CEO Greater Bay Biotechnologies. And we have Levana Sani, co-founders and CEO of Nala Genetics. And my colleague, Andy Wong, the head of innovations and technology of Invest Hong Kong. So to these panels carries the theme of the scaling health tech companies in Hong Kong and beyond. So I do my best to emphasize and focus on the three following areas. First is reinforcing investment in both economies, notably in health tech sectors. Hong Kong as the innovations and technologies powerhouse and a major platform for capital raisings, financings, and investment in Indonesia and beyond. And the huge market potentials of Indonesia and a huge, tremendous pool of startups, ecosystems, and unicorns that are ready for global market expansions. So let me pass my first questions to Satria, since you are here, right? So Satria, we've known each other for quite some time, and I know that Cityscope has been one of the growing startup in Indonesia and dealing with the health information technologies. So could you please explain to us how you define your products or services, and how would the product or the technology itself would benefit the healthcare industry in Indonesia, please?
Yep, thank you very much. Hello everyone. My name is Satria, and I'm the CEO of Cityscope. So in Cityscope, actually, we are building an integratory platform, a platform where patients and doctors can exchange the data among themselves, so that no matter where the patient is, the data will be readily available for the doctors during their examinations. So actually, the motivation for this was back in 2019. Those was the early marriage of me and my wife. But unfortunately, I have to go back and forth to the hospital because my mother-in-law was fighting with a 4-stage cancer, and I have faced the hassle of being a patient here in Indonesia, where I have to bring a lot of documents and medical records during the chemotherapy. So we actually lost the battle. We lost our mother-in-law, actually 1 month before my daughter was born. But I hope that with Cityscope, the patient journey and their family can be much nicer than what I have faced back then. So that's actually what Cityscope is.
So I mean you're talking about your backstory, about your how you create and how you execute the idea. So since then, how's the product itself? How do you have been working with the governmental levels or the private sectors when you are trying to approach those sectors? How they react on the and how the product itself could functions and to elevate the healthcare system in Indonesia?
Yep. So actually, our main product is exchange of data platform based on blockchain technology, so that the key of opening and closing the data is actually owned by the patient itself. So currently we are giving out our system, clinic for management system and for medical records app for doctors for free, and then we also that's for the private sector. And for the public sector, actually, we are in negotiation with several dinas kesehatan in Indonesia to actually integrate the data between the doctors directly to the local healthcare center of those districts.
So let's say I'm a patient at certain hospital in Jakarta. Then when I'll go somewhere for business trip, then I feel unwell and I have to visit one of the hospitals. So I will be easily extract my medical record at certain hospital. Is that your idea?
Yes, that's the basic idea. But however, if that hospital is not yet integrating their system with us, the patient will have an application where they can actually open the application and just show the records to the doctors, so that the doctors will know the condition should they need it.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you, Satria. So I'll pass the question to Colin. Colin, so the Greater Bay Biotechnologies is a members of the Hong Kong Science and Technology Parks Corporation, or HKSTP, and the ideation programs, and a pioneer of the microneedles device biotechnologies. So could you briefly share with us about your company, your product and services?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for your question.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, please, Colin.
Let me introduce our company. I'm currently actually studying my 4th master's degree at the City University of Hong Kong, and I founded Greater Bay Biotechnology last year with Associate Professor Xu Chenjie, who's an Associate Professor in Biomedical Engineering. And the technology that we have developed, it's basically based on a research that was published at Nature Biomedical Engineering last year. Our vision is really to develop user-friendly drug and cell delivery device technology for patients, which have wide applications, including the treatment of major diseases such as diabetes, infectious disease, and cancer, and skincare. In pretty much less than a year, our company has gained a lot of recognitions through innovation and entrepreneurship competition and awards. And we have received generous support from both City University. We've received the seed and angel funds from the Hong Kong Science and Technology Park Ideation Program, from the Hong Kong Government Innovation and Technology Bureau's Technology Startup Support Scheme for Universities, etc. So we now have when we first started, when we founded the company last year, there were just myself and Dr. Xu, 2 people. Now we have a team of close to 20 people, and that's just about a year. And we are expanding into Greater Bay Area, in Guangzhou. So our technology is, we hope that we can translate our research into to develop into medical products that can benefit diabetes across the world, especially in China and also in Indonesia as well. Because in China, it has the world's largest population of diabetics, of over 140 million people, and including over 700,000 in Hong Kong. So what we're doing is to develop a minimally invasive method of delivering insulin to diabetes patients. So that is what we do. Thank you.
So, and you have mentioned about the, you have been one of the members of the HKSTP, and could you tell us about your experience, right, with the HKSTP and how they can help your company grow in Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area? And I guess for the last question, probably I would like to add, and what are the advantages for Indonesian companies or other overseas companies to make use of HKSTP when they set up in Hong Kong?
Okay, thank you for your question. I really appreciated Carol's introduction of HKSTP just then, because we at the Greater Bay Biotechnology, we were actually invited to join HKSTP's ideation program last year after we won one of the Hong Kong's local innovation and entrepreneurship competition. After visiting many cities in mainland China, including the likes of Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and comparing to Hong Kong, HKSTP really offers world-class research and laboratory facilities. That's the infrastructure and the hardware. But not only the hardware, it is also about the softer part as well, the supporting ecosystem, the incubation program, the funding, and the opportunities really for companies in HKSTP to meet with other very innovative and talented world-class researchers and also companies that are under the incubation of HKSTP as well. And I think that is one of the biggest advantage. They have, and for Indonesian companies looking to set up in Hong Kong, HKSTP is really an ideal partner because they offer you local knowledge, resource, and connection, and the opportunity to really collaborate with very talented people and innovative company within your ecosystem, not only in Hong Kong, but also in the Greater Bay Area and the wider region as well. And also, of course, the infrastructure and the funding leading up to potential IPO in Hong Kong as well. So this is the whole ecosystem and a very attractive option for Indonesian company. Thanks.
And so I've got a lot of questions for my colleagues and friends. So a lot of Indonesian companies, when they have the plan to set up in Hong Kong or set a foot in Hong Kong, so they have been asking me about how accessible is it to look for talents in Hong Kong in the health sectors.
All right. I think one of the biggest advantages that Hong Kong has a world-class university, and as Carol has pointed out, of the many Hong Kong universities, 5 of them are ranked in QS ranking in the world's top 100. Yeah. 6 of them have medical schools or biomedical faculties. And these are places that attract a lot of world-class researchers and talents as well, where and Indonesian companies can benefit from that. In fact, we have been hiring summer interns in the biomedical space, and we have also received applications from candidates, not only from Hong Kong or mainland China, but also from Southeast Asia, from Indonesia, from Thailand, and elsewhere as well. So I think that is very encouraging.
All right. Thank you, Collins. So I'll pass my next question to Levana. Levana, the nanogenetics works in novel field of the pharmacogenetics, which could be used for identifying for the drug dependence and treatment response. And I was struck by the ideas and the developments. And could you tell us about the backstory of your company and how have you been doing so far?
Thank you so much for having me here. Sorry I can't be there in person. Yeah, so Nala Genetics is a company that creates genetic testing kits and software for hospital and labs. We started out with pharmacogenomics because for 2 reasons. One was in personally, my co-founder's father especially had a bleeding reaction due to a cardiovascular drug that caused him to actually become paraplegic, which causes him to be bedridden for the rest of his life. And so apparently this reaction is so common that a pharma company in the US was sued by the state of Hawaii for $834 million for not protecting their majority Asian population in Hawaiian population because they weren't doing enough to let the doctors know that they require testing before taking the drug. So that happened many years after. So it's a very simple story, but it hit home at the time, and we also found many other use cases where drugs cause all sorts of problem when they're supposed to actually give the most effect and save us from many different diseases. And I'm sorry about the connection if you guys can't hear me. So from that idea, we started out with a simple project in Indonesia, and it worked pretty well. So until today, we still work with the government of Indonesia to test for leprosy patients. And now we have expanded our use case to many different chronic conditions, such as cardiology, like mentioned before, psychiatry, internal medicine, and now even nutrition, and hopefully screening soon. So we have, we think that the potential is big for especially Asian population data sets to play in the role of global arena for personalized medicine. So far, we've helped hospitals to install this capability within their own system. And we've been working with 200 sites in Singapore, Indonesia, and hopefully Malaysia soon, and hopefully Hong Kong soon. So we'll see if everything goes well.
All right. So I know that you have presence in Singapore, right? And that's considered as an overseas representative. So what are the advantages to have presence in overseas? Of course, there are many reasons for Indonesian companies set up presence in overseas, but for your company in such a young age and you have a presence in Singapore, what's your take on that?
We always thought that the idea of I guess healthcare has to be very localized, but at the same time, only one country is not big enough market size for some of the applications we're gunning for. And we started out in Singapore because a lot of the IP is based there. But we knew that the market size for Singapore is so small that we started branching out into different countries as well. And all the companies that started out in Singapore have the same exact thinking, and it has to be baked into their design from day one. So the benefit of looking at multiple countries, although I would say it adds complexity very early on to building a company, but at the same time, it gave us a lot of opportunities to learn from multiple different healthcare systems, especially as healthcare systems are so different one in another. So for example, in the COVID-19 pandemic, if we were just based in Singapore, where most of the testing is actually centralized to a couple of government issued labs, we won't be able to create an opportunity and also help solve the problem in Indonesia, where we helped hospitals build labs for testing themselves. So that's just one of the many, many ways that I think having exposure, especially for a company like ours, where the company is designed to work with multiple labs, it would be very helpful. But for a services company or any other company that is very localized and where there's big enough market size, as long as there's that perspective, I think it's every company's different strategies.
So how about the talent proportion? So company in Singapore, Indonesia, how does it work?
Yeah, so we don't so we when we create the job description and we basically look at um its characteristic or what's required for a specific role, we don't specify the location. We will try to, as much as possible, allow remote work unless you have to work in a lab, then obviously the location is specified. And if there's a specific country interest, it would be specified. But because we build software, we have people coming in from India, from Philippines, Indonesia, Singapore, and that's all fine, as long as they can fulfill the job description. And with remote work these days, it's not the hardest part. I think in terms of quality of talent, what I'm applying with or something like that. I hope you can, because my video is freezing. But I hope that we will be. There's really no major difference that we see, and we really are able to get applications from everywhere in Southeast Asia. Although there has been some concentrations for specific roles and specific locations, like I mentioned before. And as long as we have like a good training system in-house, we also don't mind having members from all different places.
All right.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
So sorry.
It's
The
breaking up, but
internet
it's okay. All right.
is
All right,
not the best, and this is the only one I have. Sorry about that.
It's all right. It's okay. Thank you, Levana. So let me pass next questions to Andy. So Andy, so Hong Kong has made huge investments in developing a leading and world-class innovations and technology hub. For example, like Life, right? So, could you elaborate more on the government support on the innovation in technology sectors, distinctly in the health tech for overseas companies?
Right. Okay. So thank you, Hu Wen. My name is Andy Wong. I'm the leading the innovation and technology cluster within Invest Hong Kong. I do have a few slides to help me to illustrate a bit more about the support by the government. Can I have the slide on, please? Yeah. Okay, that's great. So next slide, please. So I think, first of all, I would like to say what are the key drivers for making the innovation and technology development in Hong Kong. I can summarize it into 6 major areas, starting one by one. So the first one I would like to say is about the government policy support and also the incentive we're given, in particular for related to the funding, matching fund, for example, and also some tax advantage and also some grant available. And also we offer commercialization platform. So the government itself, in addition to helping the company from a financial perspective, we also help them to launch the product, to commercialize the product. So we do have a platform to enable to that. Say, for example, some procurement policy, which is not just purely look at the dollar, but also we look at the kind of the technology element over there. The second area that I want to talk about, I think Colin has already mentioned in Hong Kong, the academic level from the university is quite strong. So 5 universities out of the is ranked the top 100 globally. And then we have 2 very innovative or well-known medical school, which is one is called Hong Kong University, the other is called Chinese University. And then the third one is about what Carol said, is the Science Park. So definitely is a world-class R&D facility in Science Park, which have different, of a very comprehensive kind of program to help startup or incubatee to innovate their technologies in Science Park. Also, in addition, because Science Park is a community, so when you are in there, no matter you are incubating or moving in there as a talent, so you can enjoy the facility over there, and then the people you talk around, and then the value chain already in place in Science Park. So it's a community that is important in Science Park. The fourth one, I think also Carol is also mentioned is about the clinical trial, both from the clinical trial procedure and also the data being recognized by the regulatory bodies in US, Europe as well. The fifth one is about access to the capital. In addition to the funding, which is the venture fund by the Science Park or some other VCP fund, we also, when we're moving on to a later stage, and Hong Kong is an excellent platform for listing, for IPO. And people may have heard about one of the scheme is called Chapter 18A, which is a P-revenue, P-profit kind of scheme. So even though the company hasn't yet making profit or making revenue, then after they pass phase 1 clinical trial with no negative result, then is eligible to apply. Of course, it will meet other certain criteria as well in terms of the market capitalization value as well. But is enabled to list it in Hong Kong. So that's why after a few years launch, we become the second largest IPO platform after New York in Hong Kong. And then the last is about the market itself. Right. That's why Colin is mentioning about not just Hong Kong, but also GBA market. Just give you a size of the GBA market. Talking about 86 million population. Of course, is slightly smaller than Indonesia, but from Hong Kong side, we only have 7 million, but 86 million is more than 10 times compared to Hong Kong with a GDP of 1.7 trillion, which is more than Australia. So you can see that in terms of the population and size, and the government really driving a collaboration or the synergy around Hong Kong and also the 9 major cities in the Greater Bay Area. And in the Greater Bay Area, it provides the people, the economy, and also the foundation of industry support. So that is all the 6 key areas. Maybe next slide, please. And then from the government side, right, to show some figure, right? So since 2017, we already invest 150 billion Hong Kong dollar in different buckets. I show it in here with different colors. For example, money spent on the education, money spent on the hardware build, money spent on the matching fund for people to apply. So there's a different kind of funding investment has been done by the government to drive the innovation and technology sector. Next slide, please. So to be more specific, to highlight some of the schemes that are available to the people. For example, at the startup stage, right? So of course, Science Park offer the incubation programs, Incubation Program, 4 years, 4 million plus 2 million, as Carol mentioned earlier. And also Science Park also offer the, and also ITB, what we call Innovation and Technology Bureaus, right? They offer the venture fund as well. So it's a kind of a 1 to 2 scheme, which is $1 by the government and then $2 by the VC firm. So it's more driving the collaboration between the government side and also the public side for venture fund inject into a specific startup company. And moving on to the research and development, for example, if the corporate, they put $1 and then the government will also put $1, which is called matching fund, which can be under the enterprise support scheme or partnership research program. Tax deduction for certain expenditure for company who spend on the R&D expenditure. It can qualify up to 3 times the first 2 million Hong Kong dollar, and then after that is 2 times whatever. And then cash rebate, 40% of whatever R&D you spend, and then we'll have 40% rebate. And the next one is more important for startup. If there's a company which employ the talent, R&D talent, and then there will be certain subsidies for the talent you recruit. Of course, it depends on the degree you have, right? Starting from bachelor to master to doctor degree, and then the kind of salary subsidized as shown on the slide here, up to 32,000 per month Hong Kong dollar for doctor degree. And then for that, enterprise can recruit up to 4 people for 3 years. And then some other example as well. And then moving on to the adoption, what I mentioned earlier about the commercialization, which is different trial scheme, voucher, programs, and also the procurement policy by the government as well. Next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. And then the next slide is about the, is again for the science part. I'm not going to go over that because Carol already mentioned it. With just a kind of picture to show that it's a comprehensive kind of incubation and acceleration program, moving from the startup phase, ideation generation to incubation, acceleration, and they have a elite program which is more for moving on to a unicorn kind of scale kind of company. Next slide, please. And then for the next slide, I just talk about more Hong Kong, right? So the reason why people will focus to do R&D, one of the reasons is because we have the healthcare system which is mature, efficient in Hong Kong. And then 90% of the inpatient will be provided by the public and 10 by the private. And then for people who are engaging in the medical device, we are still using the voluntary registration of medical device. So that what is the implication for the voluntary registration, meaning that once the medical device has been approved by overseas, and then the authorized doctor will allow to use those medical devices, which means that it's faster than the market. We don't need to go through a tedious kind of registration program in Hong Kong. And then the drugs that we, again, any two CPP kind of register, we can have the drugs market in Hong Kong as well. So this is the kind of the environment for Hong Kong. That's why we have the longest life expectancy, I think globally right now in Hong Kong. Next slide, please. And then for people who are engaging on something to do with device or application, then Hong Kong is moving on to more smart hospital. It can be breaking down into 5 different categories. One is smart care, which is more to do with facing the patient to give a better experience to the patient with the app. One of them is called Dr. Go, which is launched by the Hospital Authority. By the way, Hospital Authority is the government-funded kind of hospital system in Hong Kong. 90% of inpatient is provided by the hospital authorities. And then hospital itself, right? So some people will have some apps which can be used or system used in the smart hospital management to make the hospital management more efficient. And the facility in the hospital as well with using the IoT or 5G and also other hardware device and support system and also staff management system as well. Next slide, please. Yeah. And then two more example is about more innovation, couple of innovation. Now, hospital itself they have the different labs which allow people to make use of the data for analysis. The HA Innovation Lab, which is the lab which is in the hospital authority, with new solution that you can put into the lab for the doctor or the clinical staff to look at it to see whether it's useful for the hospital. So as you can see the picture on the right-hand side, there will be different kind of application available in the hospital authorities. And also the data lab and also AI lab is the data available for research purpose, right? So they have the innovation portal. So if you have a solution, you can go to the website to put your solution into the website and then allow the management people to look at your solution to see whether it's good to use in the hospital environment. Next slide, please. Thank you. And next slide is about the clinical trial. I'm not going to go through that because Carol already mentioned about the data, and we have 4 hospitals has been accredited by the China NMPA. And then before that, then we have a different kind of CRO already in Hong Kong. This can be a regional and global CRO already in Hong Kong. And before that, then we have 2 top-notch kind of university, but also we have other research institutions like Karolinski from overseas to Hong Kong, also established to looking at the regeneration medicine as well. So next slide, please. And then 2 more innovation is about the Genomes project. 2 years ago, we launched the Hong Kong Genomes project, which is a 1.2 billion kind of investment in Hong Kong to look at the DNA whole genome sequencing and the overall is to collect 20,000 kind of patients' data to look at the whole genome sequencing, divided into 2 phases. One is the pilot phase, the other is the main phase. And then to serve 2 purposes. One is clinical application, and then the other is scientific research purpose. And it's collaborate with the university, hospital authority, and also some other bureaus in Hong Kong. Next slide, please. And one last slide I want to mention is about the innovation, which is the government inject 10 billion Hong Kong dollar into building a cluster called Health at Inno Hong Kong cluster. The idea is to collaborate the university research project in Hong Kong with the research project in overseas different university and focusing on certain area, and then set up different kind of center. For each center, they will have specific topic to innovate, like looking at the drug discovery, personalized medicine, molecular diagnostic, bioengineering, chemical biology, bioinformatics, vaccine development, and some sort of medical instrument development as well. So this gives the all the picture about the innovation in Hong Kong. Not sure. Hugh Wen, do you have another question, like for the what is the potential application in Hong Kong? Is that one of the questions you want to ask as well?
Yeah. So aside from the government support that you have mentioned before, so I would like to ask about any opportunities for overseas companies, especially in the IET, innovation and technology sectors in Hong Kong.
Yeah, so that brings up the last slide I have. Can you bring up the last slide that we have? It will be easier to mention, to explain by the slide. Yeah, this is the slide. So I think we'll focus more on the biotech industry. So as you can see, this is a 2x2 matrix, right? So we're looking at the company size from startup scale up to medium size to more MMC size. And then on the vertical level, which is either you're doing as a service, you're doing as a sales and marketing, or doing manufacturing or R&D, right? So as you can see in the bottom level, which is doing the R&D, it's more for scale up and the startup, which they can working on with the help from the science park, for example, working on diagnostic, develop the Healthtech, innovating the medical device, and also they are also doing the advanced field therapies as well in Hong Kong. And last but not least is the TCM, which is the traditional Chinese medicine, right? So all the R&D happening in Science Park and also some other place as well. To do the manufacturing, we see more and more people will try to focus on the diagnostic, particularly because of the COVID. So there's a testing kit being manufactured in Hong Kong using the materials from China, for example. And then moving on to I think up and rising in the future will focus more on the advanced therapy products. As Carol mentioned that the Science Park already have the building GMP with the university, so that can be offering a place for doing the prototypes in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong is a good place for doing sales and marketing because we have low tax rate and is an international financial hub. So all those sales and marketing can happen in Hong Kong, particularly for the pharmaceutical company. They have I think all the big pharma is in Hong Kong, either as playing a local play or regional play or playing as a more, it depends on, playing a regional play as like a Asia hub in Hong Kong. And then moving on the top will be the health service, clinical lab or CRO as well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Andy. So just have a questions. I guess the questions I'll pass the question to Levana and Satria. This is relevant to you. Right. Okay. Pak Satria. So we have been following the news that Indonesian government has allocated amount to about 255 trillion rupiah, right, for the healthcare, and it has been an enormous allocation for the healthcare, and it is a commitment by the government to improve not just the infrastructures, but the human as well, the skills as well. So from your perspective, from your side as a industry players and private sectors, how are you ready to embrace the commitment, and I mean, how do you work with all partners, with the governments, and create huge impact reflected on the society? It means, of course, it will improve the well-being of the individuals and the as well as the society.
Yep.
Please.
Thank you, thank you. So I think the keywords in that huge budget allocation is for digitalization, because we can see that the Indonesian Ministry of Health have made a body under the ministry, which is the Digital Transformation Office, to actually accommodate the startups like Cityscope, Prosehat, so on and so forth, to actually collaborate with them. So I think that this is a really good initiative took by the Indonesian government to actually digitalizing the process of healthcare, which is actually basic needs of human life. And then we can also see that the ratio of doctor per citizens in Indonesia is a bit low. And it's not just challenge of numbers, it's also challenge of geography as well, because Indonesia is quite big and it is made up of a lot of islands, and availability of doctors, let's say, in Java Island might not be as the same as the availability of doctors in Eastern Indonesia, let's say Nusa Tenggara Timur or Nusa Tenggara Barat. So I think the move of the digitalization of the Ministry of Health is really positive. However, we as a startups, we really have to think about the online to offline and offline to online medical records as well, because that's an integral part in this digitalization process of the Indonesian healthcare system. And what I can hope for as a player is that a more supporting ecosystems, and maybe one day we can be as good as e-health system in Hong Kong. We don't know.
Yeah, of course. You hope so. All right. So thank you for all the speakers and the panelists. I'm sure that the audience have benefited much from the vibrant exchange just now. So just would like to recap the discussions. So Hong Kong stands out to be an ideal place for health tech innovations and an ideal launchpad for innovations and technology companies to develop and implement their expansion plan, and it is Asia's largest funding hub for biotechnologies. So with the improving infrastructures in Indonesia and the development of COVID-19, the country is now presenting many opportunities for health technologies, among others emerging economies in the region of Asia. So the health services are yet to be improved in many countries, which offer a huge market for the healthcare service companies. And both economies can work together on the development of the health techs and innovations and technology, and to promote both startup ecosystems to increase potential investments. So this is the end of our panel discussion. Thank you for coming, and thank you for the attendees and the virtual participants. So over to you, MC.
Thank you. Before closing, we would like to invite all speakers and panelists to take a picture. Please turn on your camera. All crew ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Before we close this event today, I would like to thank our speakers, Mr. Lau Kin Wai, Dr. Gregorius Bimantoro, Our moderator, Mr. Hilwan, Ms. Carol Liu, Ms. Ksatria Ananta Yutya, Ms. Colin Ng, Ms. Levana Sani, and Mr. Andi Wong.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
ladies and gentlemen, may I thank you again for your participation in this event. We are indeed delighted by the tremendous synergies and potentials in health tech business between Hong Kong and Indonesia. Should you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact us at email provided in our contact details. See you in our next event.
Hong Kong, a city of opportunity, a strategic location that can propel your business to the next level. Perfectly placed to access Asia and the world. Work with the leading thinkers in finance, retail, technology, and transport. Invest where the world's most prominent international brands are flourishing. Become part of an innovative hub with world-class intellectual property protection, where VC funds, university researchers, and tech companies meet to create breakthroughs. Invest in a place that nurtures businesses so they grow, with a competitive and simple tax regime and the world's freest economy. Investing here means having the vision to see the region as a whole, building connections between East and West, making deals flow even faster. Hong Kong remains the region's business center and is the gateway to and out of mainland China, joining people and cultures for a vibrant business community. A city where people are passionate about work and play, to enjoy music, sporting events, culture, and nightlife. Capture opportunities in a booming Bay Area of 11 cities that are getting more connected. Set up shop in a place where an entrepreneurial spirit abounds, where people embrace change and startups thrive. Live and work in a smart city, where fast data and cutting-edge technology means everyday life just got easier. Launch and expand your business where smart also means safe, in one of the world's most secure cities. Invest where you can easily find the talent with the right backgrounds and skills. Invest Hong Kong is here for you, to get you started and help you grow.